Hello, I know it's taken some time for this to come on. I mean, I think it's kind of like a glitch, but I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about what I was talking about earlier. Basically, I'm just kind of like looking for a different apartment, and I don't have no bad luck with apartments, but just out of my whole entire life of having apartments, I guess people think that people, other individuals, are supposed to go through whatever uh, experience that you may have went through, but sometimes people just know how to plan stuff and know how to maneuver past, the bull. So basically, what I'm going to talk about today is like, I know I've been talking about the apartments and stuff that I'm supposed to be moving in, but I already moved out my old one and I'm in my new one now. And I showed you all the pictures of what my old one looks like after I moved out, is clean and all that other stuff. And so I haven't showed you what my bigger apartment looked like, but there are some things that um need to be taken care of in this apartment that you only can do according to your lease, and all the other stuff that the maintenance has to do according to what your lease says. And so right about now there's a situation that's happening in my apartment, and basically I went downstairs and I was like, sometimes you be ready to get about it because it's some of the stuff that goes on in your neighborhood or your community. It just does not make any sense. So right about now, I'm going to plan on leaving out of this apartment and at the end of my lease, because I think I put in too much into a place where another give up, but I don't know, it just seemed like you consider this some type of playhouse or something. And if you're going to consider it a playhouse and you don't know how to keep up with your own maintenance and your own places of what you rent out, apartments that you rent out, you should just go ahead and put it in somebody else's hand who can do better than you. But right about now, it just getting to the point where like I went downstairs and I was talking to the assistants, and I told him what was going on with the apartment. So I moved the stove out from the wall because it just some stuff that was going on in the apartment that just didn't sound right. So I moved the stove out from the wall, and it looked like the stove for some reason like would put a big old hole in the side of the sink. So I went down there and asked them, can they move it? Because I thought it would be considered like a fire hazardous because it's an older stove. And so you don't, the material of the cabinet, you don't want that type of stove to be next to, because it can, put something like a big old hole into the side of the sink, which could probably, if it got hot enough, it probably would have blew up, that that part of the wall. So they said they're gonna put in a work order, and because sometimes there's some stuff that be happening to my apartment, I asked him can he move the stove because I didn't want it to be a fire hazardous. And so he was like, well, we're just gonna put in a work order. And I said, well, where's this stuff coming from? Because it was coming from the stove. The stove was just too old. So I was like, can you just come and move it? And like, well, every apartment that they had their tenants in, they have to have a stove. Understandable. But the way that the situation looked, you should just say I came and just remove the stove, because it just looked like a fire hazardous stove. So I never touched the inside of the stove or cooked in the inside of the stove, because there's just some things, if it don't smell right, it don't look right, then don't use it. And it was the same as the refrigerator. So I asked them to move that out, and I have my own appliances for right now. And so basically, if I had smaller children, I wouldn't even trust this place to have them in here. And even if I had to take care of like another elderly adult, I wouldn't bring them in here because it's just not really um stable enough for to have another individual coming in, or if it's small children. So if I decide to adopt some children and they had to come in and do an inspection, the inspector will say hell no, and I would not and blame him or her. So basically, I let certain individuals know, this is what needs to be done for the apartment complex. And so at the end of this, a different part of Alaska, or just go ahead and move overseas. And it doesn't happen where a lot of things are coming up, like things in the economy are a place that I'm trying to get a job at. And I'm trying to see if I'm trying to make sure that I have all the credentials that I need before I go live overseas. And you're probably saying, oh, Shaniki, you're not worried about food stamps and you're not worried about housing or anything like that. It's okay to let it go. And when they do better with a lot of stuff, then come back another time when they're doing better or something, I guess. But right about now, I can't fix everything for you. It's your problem. I can't fix the problem that maintenance is supposed to fix, because like I said, according to my lease, it's only certain things that a tenant this year upgrading their apartments or trying to fix their apartment. I guess I might have to leave America. And I'm like that, and I'm like that for a reason, because the simple fact, like, nobody can't keep going in and out of the hospital, all right, for all the stuff that support any type of situation. America shouldn't even be in debt the way Americans spend money. Like all the businesses that got somewhat rich off of all the people in the community not be like that. So I chose this place that I did so for some reason until America get better, and I participated in trying to help, whenever I see that, I'm gonna go ahead and just let all of them go and leave it in myself hands and God's hands, because I'm the one who got to make sure that I'm okay for wherever I live at next. And so basically, if I move overseas, this place that I'm moving overseas, it's going to be probably a new journey for me. Still trying to get in touch with a lot of the places, like the career centers and stuff are there. I left all the emails to all the places that I'm supposed to be in contact when I get there. I'm not going to say the foreign country place yet, because for the simple fact that I just want to make sure that it's okay, and I don't want to say something and somebody jump with it and say, oh, Shaniki said this and this and this and that. Because sometimes when you go to a place, you want to make sure it's okay to if you decide to share that new place where you're going to be living at, for other individuals to come and visit or to adventure out to, and you don't want them